consciousness was so sublime, even though he had difficulty with his physical body. Prabhupada wanted to go to Govardhan towards the end of his life. And I remember him saying that they had suggested, that Srila Prabhupada had suggested that he goes on a pilgrimage to all the holy places. But at first he decided, well, let's try to go to Govardhan first, and if my health can do Govardhan, then we can go to other holy places. So Srila Prabhupada was saying, and I was just 3 years, devoted in the temple. And so I was saying, oh, wonderful, we're all going to go to Govardhan. The older devotees were completely worried about taking Srila Prabhupada to Govardhan. Because Prabhupada was a master guru, and anyone else would have been dead many months before. But Srila Prabhupada was like Bhishma. You know the story of Bhishma? He could hold his life within his body for many, many months. So Srila Prabhupada, actually they said this of Prabhupada, Bhakti Charu, he visited in Jagannath Puri, there's a place where you can get some information directly from the deities. You can ask a question and they'll answer. And it's connected to the Jagannath temple. And they asked about Srila Prabhupada, and the first thing they said that Srila Prabhupada, he left like Bhishma. And that was so true. So Srila Prabhupada, one day he said he wanted to go to Govardhan. And he said, oh, we can all go, and we'll just sit under the trees, and the people will bring us water and food. We don't even have to pack lunch. They will give us everything. So it's just like when Madhavendra Puri, if you know the story of Madhavendra Puri, he always traveled alone because he didn't think that there was very good association. So he decided to just be by himself. So he would travel alone, and he got to this one place on Govardhan, Govindakund, and he was sat there. And as he sat under the tree, he was always chanting and deeply in his Krishna consciousness. He just had forgotten to take food that day. And one cowherd boy came up to him and said, Maharaj, I know you've been fasting today, but in my village no one goes hungry, so I brought you some milk. Please take this milk, and tomorrow I will come back and I will get the pot. So he left the pot. So he said, okay. So he took the milk, he drank. Then that night, he had a dream. And in the dream, he realized that the boy who came to see him was Krishna himself. So then, in the dream, the boy told him that he resided on the hill, and it was very hot, and that this place, he had been there for a very long, long time. And he said, please come into the mountain and find me, take me down, and make a big Govardhan puja for me. And this is Srinathji. The Srinathji deity that you see in Nathadwar. This is the deity of Madhavendra Puri. He was installed on top of Govardhan, but when the Muslims came, he went to Nathadwar. So this is the stories of Govardhan, is that complete surrender to Krishna. Everything can be very upside down, and everything can be seeming completely hopeless. But if we surrender to Krishna, Krishna will take care of everything. It says that those who went under the hill, they had no thirst, they had no hunger, they didn't feel cold, they weren't wet, they were completely satisfied under the hill. Because under Krishna's protection, we're completely satisfied, we're completely, everything is taken care of. But without Krishna's protection, Maya will crush us. 100%. Everyone will be crushed by Maya unless they surrender to Krishna. That's why she's so fierce. That's why we see her with so many, with so many tridents, because she will crush every one of us if we are not completely Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada told us this. This is one of the things he told us just as he was leaving. Maya will crush you. She said, you think, oh, I am in Maya? He said, you don't understand how serious she is in her service to Krishna. And her service is to crush you. But if you're completely Krishna conscious, then even the body is destroyed, you're still in ecstasy. So that's what Prabhupada showed us. That even his body was destroyed, he was still in the highest pleasure, the highest level of his pleasure. His Krishna consciousness had brought him to such a high level of enjoyment and pleasure that he said, I am in ecstasy. Even though my body is destroyed, I am in ecstasy. So we know the story of Govardhan Hill is that the people there all wanted to worship the demigods. Why? Krishna came up to everyone and said, what is happening in the village? What are you preparing for? And they said, oh, we do this Indra Puja now, Krishna, every year. You don't remember last year? You know, we do every year. This is foolish. You just surrender to me. I'll protect you. You don't have to, Indra, you don't have to worry about him. I can take care. And then he gave what they call this philosophy, where he said, well, you know, similar to the philosophy in atheist countries. I lived in a communist country for 20 years, similar philosophy. Oh, the gods, yeah, there may be gods, but they're there and we're here. You know, what we do here and what they do there has nothing to do, you know. We don't bother them, they don't bother us. So Krishna started telling them this philosophy, you know, don't worry about Indra, you know, he has nothing to do with our life. You know, you worship me, I'll provide for you, and worship Govardhan Hill. So he told them, don't worship the demigods. Now, we offer respect to them. Why? They're great devotees. They're great devotees. If a great devotee comes, what do we want to do? We want to wash his feet, we want to give him arti, we want to do so many things. But we don't think he's God. So when we see demigods, we want to show them great respect, but we don't offer them on the level of Krishna. We don't do Indra Puja. So this is the meaning of Govardhan Puja, complete surrender to Krishna. We don't have to go indirectly to Krishna. There's so many village talk in India. You know, if you worship Hari, he'll take everything away. If you worship Shiva, he'll give it to you really quick. You know, if you worship Kuvera, he's the god of wealth, you're going to have very rich. But if you worship Krishna, you have everything. So Krishna says, indirect everyone, those who worship the demigods, they're in the mode of goodness, but they do not understand that they must come to me. Then I allow them to give to you. So it's not intelligent. So this is the story of Govardhan Puja. I think I spoke 5 minutes. Jai Hare Krishna. I'll worship Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna. Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste. Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Nirvishesha Shunya Vashtarya. Please excuse my appearance. Today I didn't have opportunity to dress nicely for this auspicious occasion. And he's a hard act to follow because he is illustrated nicely how Srila Prabhupada also wanted to go on parikrama in his final pastime, the Lila, in Vrindavan. But I will simply reiterate what Srila Prabhupada states very nicely in the Krishna book. Now those of you here, or most of you own a Krishna book. In the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada conveys nicely this very nice pastime of Gaura Puja, namely describing how Lord Krishna was very inquisitive. And he approached Nanda Maharaj. He says, so what is this ceremony? I see you're doing so many things, so many preparations. You're cooking such a vast, sumptuous prasad like this. And of course, his father explained to him that annually they perform this sacrifice because they are indebted to the demigods. And in the Krishna book, again, to reiterate Srila Prabhupada's explanation, Srila Prabhupada explains that we are all, from the minute that you are born, you have become indebted. From the minute that you take birth, you are indebted to your father, you are indebted to your mother, you are indebted to the demigods, you are indebted to the guru. Prabhupada even explains that we are indebted to animals. Yes, we read, those of you, how many of you have read in the Krishna book? Yeah, Prabhupada may recall. Prabhupada explains, even cats and dogs you are indebted to. If you have a cat that comes to your home, you are indebted to feed him like this. So in order to offset or to atone for this debt, to pay for the debt, simply one becomes a devotee of Krishna. From the moment that you become Vaishnava, you accept Krishna consciousness, you accept Krishna as a supreme person, Bhagavan, then you are no longer indebted. Your debt has been atoned for. So like this. So Lord Indra is preparing. He sees that, oh, so you're not offering me this sacrifice now. So he was somewhat offended, appalled by the fact that as usual, the offerings are not there. Krishna says, my dear father, why offer all these nice preparations to Lord Indra? It's all done, because Nanda had said to him, there's not sufficient time to change, to not offer Lord Indra this sacrifice, because Lord Krishna did request him not to do so, like this. So he says, use what you have prepared already in lieu of worshiping Lord Indra. Because Lord Indra, of course, became very agitated, and he wanted to send his primary agents, his cloud, Sambartaka? Sambartaka is the main cloud. And this cloud, this is the primary cloud that comes to an inundation at the final pralaya, the destruction of the universe. Okay, this cloud is sent to inundate, and the world becomes completely submerged in water. So you can understand that this is a very fearsome water attack. So in this way, Lord Indra is sending his agents, but they were also afraid because somehow they understood that they were transgressing. They were somewhat afraid that they would come and offend Lord Krishna. They had some insight, some inkling like this. So, but still, so Lord Krishna continue on with the sacrifice, convinced Nanda Maharaj, all right, my son, I will do. You are requesting, I will do this sacrifice. Not to Indra, but like this. So, as Peter Prabhu explained, the inhabitants of Vrindavan were very subject to discomfort. They were cold, they were hungry, like this, they're agitated. But Lord Krishna requested, you come under this hill, I will make one umbrella, And this is what the Govardhan hill is, the magic umbrella. So Lord Krishna, as we know, Giridhari, he had taken his Govardhan hill and lifted with his pinky, as we all know. Like this, so the inhabitants of Vrindavan took refuge and took shelter under this venue that Lord Krishna had created. And they are no longer, the inhabitants experience any discomfort, any hunger, like this. They were all very fully satisfied, and they felt special satisfaction, special, how would you say, comfort, I guess, yes, like this. So went on. So Lord Indra sent his agents, Sambartarka, etc., and torrential rains for, I don't know, does anyone know the exact timing? I don't know. 7 days and 7 nights. See? And you read that in the Krishna book, right? Of course. Srila Prabhupada tells us. So like this young man explained, 7 days, 7 nights, it rained incessantly, non-stop, like this. So, but suffice it to say that the inhabitants of Vrindavan were comforted. I think that they were not affected by this torrential rain, which eventually ceased. Okay, it stopped. Okay, the sun came out. And Lord Krishna says, just see now, everything's fine. So this is essentially the gist, okay, the essential fabric of this pastime, Govardhan Puja, okay, Giridhari, Lord Krishna exhibiting his potency and showing that only to Lord Krishna you can take refuge, the sanctuary. Krishna, 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 Hare. Krishna, 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 Hare. Krishna, 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 Pahi Mam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Rashama. So let us take shelter of our Krishna, the temple. Where is Prabhuji? And I see my 5 minutes up. I can read your body language. But like this, so let us celebrate nicely and take shelter of this very, very auspicious day. Take shelter of Krishna, chant the extra rounds. I do recommend those of you who have not read the pastime that you do so on the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book. Srila Prabhupada he's the Acharya, the word Acharya, the founder Acharya, and he has given us all the insight, all the doctrines, all the information for us to become fully God conscious, Krishna conscious. Giridhari ki! Giridhari ki!
Krishna is in our heart. But the question is, have we given our heart to Krishna? How much are you holding back? Are you holding anything back? That's why Prabhupada came. Prabhupada came to give us the most valuable thing. We're here because we want everything. Don't you want everything? You want everything. So how do you get everything? You surrender to Krishna. You give your heart to Krishna. This pastime is so wonderful because that's what it's about. It's about inspiring our love. Inspiring our love. And when we give that love, we get everything. So we are so fortunate to be here celebrating this wonderful, wonderful pastime. And it is just, it's so ecstatic. Just think about it. So let's take this occasion and celebrate joyfully this wonderful pastime. And we'll get closer, closer and closer to that goal of giving our heart totally to Krishna because it's really his art. And he wants it. He wants it. So let's continue the process. And the association of devotees is what makes that possible. Because that's where the love is. Yes. So give your association, give it enthusiastically, and celebrate this wonderful pastime. Hare Krishna.
That as I reflect on this beautiful festival, so as we know that in Giriraj, that in Vraj, in Brajabhumi Vrindavan now, Krishna is always drowning the residents of Vrindavan. He's drowning them with transcendental pleasure. And that is why Krishna is called Bhakta Vatsala. That means he who gives pleasure to his devotees. So, in this particular pastime, we see, as they explain, Krishna is only 7 years old. He is still a very small baby. He comes up with the theory of karma mimamsa, which means that you do your duty, then demigods do their duty. So basically, you don't have to do anything special. The fact that the demigods give you rain and light and air, it's only because they have to do it. The law of karma states that they have to provide rain, so they provide rain. So there's no need to do anything extra, anything special to this demigod. So Krishna was very beautifully presented the theory of karma mimamsa, which means that you do whatever you're supposed to do, you do your duties, and whatever is meant to happen will happen. So anyway, and then he went on to explain the opposite of karma mimamsa. He said, but look, this Giriraj Govardhan, I have 5 minutes also. So this Giriraj Govardhan is such a beautiful place. All our cows are grazed on Giriraj Govardhan. The grass that is in the Giriraj Govardhan are fragrant and so soft that when our cows eat that grass, they are able to then produce this nutritious milk that we then ourselves have nourished. Whenever we need drinking water, there is beautiful streams coming down Giriraj Govardhan. There are so many waterfalls, there are so many lakes. And there are so many beautiful kunjas when we need shelter from the heat. And there are so many beautiful caves that we can go and have solitude and play in those caves. And in these caves there are so many beautiful diamonds and jewels that these caves don't even need light, they're automatically lit up. So Krishna was giving all these arguments why Giriraj Govardhan is the very sole element of sustenance for the residents of Vrindavan and not Indra. First he presented karma mimamsa, the theory of work, and then he presents how Giriraj Govardhan is actually the one and not this demigods that is providing everything for the residents of Vrindavan. So when he presented it in such a beautiful way, which was very logical, he was not saying something very illogical, he was saying very logical. And Nanda Maharaj was very convinced. When he was convinced, all the residents of Vrindavan, they made so many beautiful, it's called Annakut, because this is the time of the harvest. So there's a lot of rice in India. this is the time for harvest. Everyone is harvesting all this rice and grains and things. So they made so much food. And Krishna wanted to, you ready? Almost ready?
I'm enjoying the lecture.
Oh. So, okay, I have 3 more minutes. I'm going to try to wrap it up. So, the residents of Vrindavan, they make this beautiful feast, followed by the cows and the brahmanas, as Krishna recommended. And they offer it to Govardhan. But then, you offer it to a rock, this big huge mountain, there's no reciprocation. What does Krishna do? Because Giriraj Govardhan is not different from? So then Krishna expands into this big, beautiful form on top of, right next to Giriraj Govardhan. It was the height of Giriraj Govardhan. You have to understand, Giriraj Govardhan is considered to be the king of all mountains. Someone asked me, sometime he's addressed as Govardhan Hill. Why hill? Why not mountain? I was looking this up according to the US Geological Survey. They say that there is no difference between a mountain and a hill. Bhagavatam explains that a hill is a place where there is easily climbable. And this is what Giriraj Govardhan was. What you see now in Vrindavan is a small replica of Giriraj Govardhan. As Kali Yuga moves forward, Giriraj will disappear. His Leela is finished. But Giriraj Govardhan was so tall. So Krishna expands into this form and he starts, as Govardhan, he starts eating all the food. So everything that the residents of Vrindavan cooked, he ate everything. So there was nothing left. So if Giriraj Govardhan eats everything, what will be there for? What will the residents of Vrindavan eat? So what does Krishna do? He immediately manifests everything that they cooked, that he ate, he made sure they appeared again in front of all the residents of Vrindavan. When you offer to Krishna, he eats, right? But then when you go there, everything is full. Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Has anyone observed you offer and everything is missing? So, in this pastime here, what is happening is, Krishna is doing the same thing. He eats everything and then he makes sure, because he is always there to make sure the devotees get prasad. So he'd make sure that place was again filled with everything that they cooked was there again. And then all the residents of Vrindavan, they had a big massive feast. Indra, can you imagine? All the residents of Vrindavan are so happy, there's only one person not happy. And this person is sitting up there in the heavenly planets. He's very angry. He goes in, and as Prabhuji's are explaining, torrential rains for 7 days and 7 nights, non-stop. And as the Samvartaka cloud is considered to be the most ferocious of all the clouds, this is the last resort. When there is pralaya, when there is destruction of the entire universe, then they are summoned. So they completely flooded Vrindavan. And as he starts showering rain, all the residents of Vrindavan, they run to Krishna. Krishna, please. And Krishna said, no, we should go to Govardhan. So they all rushed to Govardhan. And Krishna, with his hands, he started lifting Govardhan. As he was lifting this Govardhan hill, there was a thunderous noise because it's a very big hill. And then Krishna holds it in his little finger. Why this little finger? It's the smallest finger, just to humiliate you. Krishna wanted to make sure that Lord Indra, he understands who the supreme boss is. Don't teach me who the boss is, I'll teach you who the boss is. You give me what you can and I'll show you with my little pinky. And not only that, Krishna didn't even use his right hand, he uses his left hand. He uses his left hand and his little pinky in his left hand. Does anyone ever think of that little pinky on their left hand? You don't, right? Krishna wanted to make sure that Indra understands. So he is holding As he's holding this Giriraj Govardhan, all the residents of Vrindavan, they come under it. When they come under the hill, everyone is worried. This little baby Krishna, this mountain is so heavy. And Krishna, to assure them, he said, I don't know what is happening. This mountain is supposed to be so heavy, but it feels so light. Krishna was reassuring the residents of Vrindavan. Then, Madhumangal? Madhumangal is one of Krishna's cowherd boyfriends. He's always funny, he's always doing something funny. He said, because today I chanted so many mantras, because of all my mantra tantra, Krishna is very easily able to lift the Govardhan here. And then the Mother Yashoda and the other cowherd boys is like, Madhumangal, this is not the time to make jokes. Our life, is depending on this. It's not time to make jokes. Krishna said, no, it's not joke, it's actually true. It is because Madhumangal is a Brahmana and he did a lot of mantra tantra, that is why it's so light. So then Giriraj Govardhan is thinking, such a beautiful thing. All the residents of Vrindavan under one umbrella. He very mercifully started glancing at each and every one of those residents of Vrindavan. And as he glanced at them, each and every resident of Vrindavan felt that Krishna was only looking at me. Each and everyone felt, the cows, everyone felt that Krishna was only looking at them. So this loving exchange that was happening, what does Krishna do? He pulls out his flute, his Bamsidhari, his Murlidhari, he pulls out his flute. Now the residents of Vrindavan got more scared. Okay, he's holding, but if he starts playing flute, then what will happen? Then one of the cowherd boys said, Krishna, please don't play the flute. If you play the flute, then this Giriraj Govardhan will go into some spiritual ecstasy and we will all get crumbled under Govardhan. So Krishna, please don't play the flute. So in this way, there was a lot of debate, beautiful exchange going on. And Krishna was also, one gopi noticed that Krishna was only glancing at Srimati Radharani. And he proclaimed that, oh my God, Krishna is only glancing at Sri Radhe. Then she immediately covered her face. Wanted to make sure she was not the center of attention. So anyway, there's a lot of beautiful exchanges that happened under this Giriraj Govardhan. Because my 5 minute already up 5 minutes ago, we want to make sure you get prasadam before you leave. So anyway, Krishna wanted to explain by this Leela that Giriraj Govardhan is non-different from me. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to Vrindavan, the first rock that he saw from Giriraj Govardhan, he held that rock close to his heart and he bathed this rock from Giriraj Govardhan with his tears. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was given a shila that you saw that we are bathing today from Giriraj Govardhan. He wore it on his neck. And every day he would bathe his Giriraj Govardhan with his tears of ecstatic love. So this is who Giriraj Govardhan is. Gaudiya Vaishnavas have never climbed the Giriraj Govardhan. Why? Because it's not different from Krishna. We don't even take shilas and bring it to our house. Why? Because we're not qualified. This was the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande. I also request when we do the arati, after arati, there will be Giriraj on the hill. Before you take the prasadam, it's very important that you don't jump and take the prasadam. We will all do it very nicely. Because we want to reminisce the pastimes of this Vrajavasis, where they all shared prasada. So please don't grab and just start taking from the hill. What I would like to see is if anyone wanted to do Dandavat Parikrama of Giriraj Govardhan. In Vrindavan now, there is literally hundreds and thousands, lakhs and lakhs of people doing Dandavat Parikrama. Some of them are doing Dandavat Parikrama in one place, 108 Dandavats. So here it won't take very long. We can just take turn and do Dandavat Parikrama. Just keep moving fast. After, of course, we do 3 times around and then we can do Dandavat Parikrama. So after we do 3 times Parikrama, then we please pause, and whoever wants to do Dandavat Parikrama, they can do it. It'll probably be like 10 Dandavats, maybe 8, because this Giriraj Govardhan here is very merciful. He somehow managed to fit in this little place. You cannot fit Giriraj in such a little place, but somehow he has managed. Very merciful. So now we will have an arati we will sit and we will do Damodar arati and Sandhya arati at the same time for the sake of time. And then we'll have a special arati where Giriraj will come out and we'll do a special arati just for Giriraj. And Svatashura Prabhu wanted me to remind you, where is Svatashura Prabhu? He's outside. There is 6 spots for doing arati to Giriraj Govardhan for those of you who want to. And there is only 2 spots left. So if you want to do an arati, then you'll do a full arati to Giriraj Govardhan along with the pujari, you please go and see him. Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. You can please be seated. Moksha Sadame manasya virutam kimasya. Vedante lomam bhojam atyanta vinay Vritam kutalay snikharantasya gopya Vedante lomam bhojam atyanta vinay Vritam kutalay snikharantasya gopya If you could please line outside on this side of the temple, men, so that you can come from that door.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. middle of the temple room, so we can have Giriraj Govardhan right in the middle of the temple room.
Hare Krishna. Jai Giriraj Govardhan ki. Jai Giriraj Govardhan ki. So, we have a few people. Please, we are announcing your name. Please come in the front and be there for the Arati.
Raja Srivastav and family, Uttama Radhika Mataji and family, Raju Bhai and family to please come. Nandana Babu, please Kirtan.
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan. Kesi ghato, bangsi bato, dadosho gana. Kesi ghato, bangsi bato, dadosho gana. Jaha sabarila koila dinandananda. Jaha sabarila koila dinandananda. Jaya